Salute, folks. It's your boy, the insurance junkie, your fiduciary fella, the all-star advisor, Alonzo Hall, your social media insurance broker, back again today to weapon tap on your head with another ADH wealth solution. Today's article is from CNBC, and it's about a 3-question checklist that'll help you determine when you're ready to invest your money. Before I continue, make sure you hit that like, drop a comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you're made aware every time I release new content. And as always, share. Lastly, to contribute to channel growth or to schedule an appointment with a licensed financial professional, the links are in the description of this video. The reason for this, ladies and gentlemen, is because I hear way too many people talking about things like buy term and invest the rest, yet they're also talking about the fact that most Americans don't have $500 in an emergency, let alone the ability to max out an IRA, whether that be Roth or regular, or their 401k at, $26,000 a year for the 401k, or $7,000 a year in an IRA. They also don't mention to you that when you're buying term insurance, there's a certain amount you're supposed to buy, right? It's not going to be, I'm spending, $100 a month on a $1 million policy. If you make $100,000 a year and you want to leave 20 years of your lifestyle to your family, exclude the fact that the average funeral is about $20,000, and so many other things. Anyway, let's read this article. So CNBC spoke with certified financial planners to get their advice for putting your cash in a high-yield savings account versus the stock market. Having the safety net of savings makes financial sense no matter your current situation. It's important to have an emergency fund if you ever lose your job, and you'll likely need cash to make a down payment on your first home or to achieve other milestones. But at some point, once you have stockpiled enough cash, you should start reallocating some savings to investing if you really want to maximize the amount of money you can earn, whether it's for building your wealth or for planning long-term goals like retirement. Since each person or family faces different decisions based on their personal goals and needs, CNBC Select spoke with some CFPs about general guidelines consumers can follow to know whether they're ready to start investing. The main rule of thumb is to make sure you have access to cash when you need it, and that means meeting certain thresholds before taking on the risk of the stock market. One financial planner suggests you go through a mental checklist before investing to make sure your finances are stable. You should be able to answer the following questions with a solid yes before you start investing, says Gordon Achterman, a Virginia-based CFP. And that's the reality, ladies and gentlemen, which is why a lot of people recommend cash value life insurance, because it's substantially more liquid than a brokerage account or an IRA, where there are penalties and taxes that you face if you withdraw that money before a certain age, or if you withdraw that money at certain periods. Question 1. Do you have an adequate emergency fund? When deciding between saving or investing your money, first look at what cash you have to fall back on if needed. Experts generally advise building short-term savings and then investing whatever surplus cash you have left over. For this purpose, high-yield savings accounts are a great option because they come with zero risks, very similar to cash value life insurance, meaning your money will always be there. When you invest, your money can increase or decrease depending on the day-to-day changes in the market. So there is much more risk. An FDIC-insured savings account is nearly risk-free for short-term savings and is not subject to market fluctuations, says Sebastian Rowland, senior investing researcher at Betterment. What classifies as an adequate emergency fund varies depending on your job security and income. Achterman provides the below guidelines for determining how big your fund should be. 3 months of expenses for couples with 2 incomes and very secure employment. 6 months for couples with 2 incomes but less secure employment or one partner not working. 1 year for an individual with 1 income that is less than very secure. But high yield savings accounts aren't just to be used as emergency savings. They're also useful as you're trying to save up for certain financial milestones. A high yield savings account can serve as a rainy day fund, but also an opportunity fund for sunny days, says Brian Kuderna, a New Jersey based CFP and author of Millennial Millionaire. Rated as CNBC's best overall choice, the Marcus by Goldman Sachs High Yield Savings Online Savings is a straightforward savings account to use when all you want to do is grow your money with zero conditions attached to it. It comes with no fees whatsoever and easy mobile access. Ladies and gentlemen, you should also look at the fine print because a lot of these high yield savings accounts, you don't start gaining interest until a balance of $25,000. Question 2. Am I committed to leaving the money in place for 2 to 5 years or longer? For longer-term goals that you're not looking to achieve in the next 2 years, there are other factors to consider when deciding where to allocate your money. Savings accounts, even the best high-yield ones, offer a relatively low return compared to investment accounts, sometimes even lower than the rate of inflation. Pause. And this is why a lot of those buy-term invested difference people are saying that, cash value life insurance isn't a good idea because they're looking at pure protection of income replacement with death benefit, which is usually going to be a high face amount death benefit of a term policy. If a savings account has a lower interest rate than inflation, the purchasing power of the cash in the account will decrease over time, Rowland says. This means that as inflation goes up, it can eat into an already low return that you are earning on your money. At this point, you should invest your money in a low-risk investment portfolio. Investing the cash in a diversified portfolio will usually yield a higher average return than leaving it in a savings account, Rowland says, adding that you should be prepared for some fluctuations in your balance and have an investment horizon greater than a couple of years, or time horizon, which I never hear anybody talk about. Placing the cash in a well-diversified, low-cost investment portfolio could provide a greater likelihood of reaching the investment goal, he says. A more aggressive approach to saving comes with higher risk, but is better for long-term goals when you already have the safety net of the emergency fund in place. The answer to when to put money in a high-yield savings account versus an ETF or any other investment for that matter is asking what kind of risk can you afford to take with the money you are putting in, says Scott Cole, an Alabama-based CFP. A common option for beginning investors is putting money into an ETF. ETFs are a collection of securities that typically track an index, the most commonly of which is the S&P 500, Kuderna says. Or you could put it in an index universal life insurance, which does the same thing. ETFs don't require large amounts of capital in order to invest in a range of stocks. They can be a good way to dip your toe into the investing pool and get exposure to the overall stock market. When you open an ETF, you decide how aggressive or conservative you'd like to be based on when you'll need the money. Acumen recommends using a very low or no transaction cost ETF, such as those offered by Betterment, Wealthfront, Vanguard, Fidelity, Charles Schwab, and TD Ameritrade, which is now Charles Schwab. Question 3. Can I weather the ups and downs of the market? This last question addresses risk. If you think you will need the money in the near term, less than 2 or 3 years, avoid investing because of the additional risk you take on by putting your money in the market. Instead, put this cash into a savings account that offers more security. For your longer-term goals that allow you to take on more risk, put that money in the market. Experts generally suggest that you can be most aggressive with goals that are well into the future, beyond 10 years. Then dialing back the risk for near-term goals. If you have longer horizon, then you may be able to handle the volatility, Cole says. What you want to avoid is having your money subject to risk when you actually need the money. If you answered no to any of the above, then focus on savings. If you went through the above 3 questions and answered no to any of them, you might not be ready to start investing your cash. Instead, focus on saving. Saving is ultimately the first step to investing, because without it, you're not ready to take on the risk of putting your money in the market. To make sure that you are earning the greatest return on your savings, especially when you're relying on it as an emergency fund, use the high-yield savings account. Just make sure the one that you choose has no monthly fees, low or no minimum balance requirements, and an interest rate referred to as an APY that's higher than a normal savings or checking account. That's going to be it for today, folks. Make sure you hit that like, drop a comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you're made aware every time I release new content. And as always, share, share, share. Lastly, to contribute to channel growth or to schedule an appointment with a licensed financial professional, the links are in the description of this video. With that being said, wipe ass. Work in progress every day and see success. And remember, folks, when people challenge you, they don't challenge you to challenge you, but they challenge you to challenge you. Accept the challenge. Salute.